that have found their way back to the community. I need you just as much as you need me. In this evening's live, we do have XRP holders on edge, but in all reality, I don't really know why, because even if we dip down farther than we did or we fell down farther, if we understand or we believe in not just a technology, because I don't really believe like a technology, but if we believe in Ripple as a whole and XRP for what it is, and even if we just look at XRP as a gas token on the XRP ledger, when you bring in liquidity of a stable coin that's coming in with a lot of the emerging markets on the other sides of the world that are starting to utilize the ledger for different reasons, and XRP Healthcare is a great example of that, one of our own that we have invested in, because they're tackling an emerging market on the ledger, which is going to bring in traffic. The more traffic we get, even if the critic would say XRP is a gas fee, it's nothing more than a gas token, great. That can get us to $10, $15, no problem, even as a gas token. So my message here this evening is, like I said in a title before, take advantage of the opportunity or take advantage of this moment. Yesterday, not that we wanted it, or that we're begging for it to happen, but we're not going to shy away from it. So instead of us breaking up, and this is the value of having the up and the down target. Instead of breaking up, we started breaking down. Well, not started, but we came down outside of the rising channel. We came down outside of the handle support. And right now, what we're doing is we're back testing all of these areas, which to me is fantastic, because real quickly, we're going to find out one way or another what the hell's going on here. Now, if I'm 100% honest and reasonable and understanding what typically happens here, we were understanding that we would have a retest here. Now, the question is kind of come all the way back up here to what we thought was an expandable uptrend. It could, but this isn't what it's going to come up to first. That's 58.8. Getting back on top of there would be very interesting, but I don't think that can happen in the next 56 minutes, because this could have just been a wick into today, one candle down, and then we could have, outside the little bit of a body, we could have pulled right back up here outside of a wick for the second day, and it would have just kind of been like, but it seems to me that even with this pullback, where are we going from here? Where would you go from here? So I'm going to make that simple for everybody. You're not going to have to guess. First layer, if we break up over here and we have a close tonight, over, let's just say, the 50.4 cent level. That's 50.5 cents to give us a little bit of room. If we close above 50.5 cents, that's a pretty important close, because then you're back on top of the handle support. And that's basically just, hey, we had a breakdown. We needed some liquidity. And now let's go. And you can see we're in the oversold now. But we're working our way back to, if we're going to have a bullish push here, this is where we need to make a move. Or there's a second option here. But right now we'll be looking for, and we'll be paying attention to this during the live, at the 50.5 cent level. And then the other area of interest right now is obviously this multi-year uptrend, or well, not even uptrend, but a multi-year, and some would consider it a rising wedge, because you can form it as a rising wedge. I just preferred not to do that. I wanted to take this from a smaller perspective here and have the channel form, because it honored it the entire time. It honored it. So we've got two options here. One, we can start breaking, or well, actually it's three options, but we've got the option I showed you at the beginning where we do push up and then we ultimately are back into the handle support. And now we can start pushing back up and retest at 58.5 cents in the very near future. Option two here, which is still a very bullish option, is we don't necessarily get back on top of here. Maybe we even come back up to the 200 day, and then we rotate back down in the higher time frames, and we have a real double bottom that forms here. Now, the ironic thing is here, do we classify it as a double bottom and say, hey, there actually is two hits, but it's 1, 2, and then we just say, instead of having a straight double bottom hit and then do, the traditional W reversal, maybe we have an inverted left shoulder, inverted head, and we start coming back up here, and then you would have an inverted right shoulder here. So that can only happen if we start having a continuation and get back up above this resistance on this channel. This is not another channel formed. I mean, it could start another channel, but this is the technical drop point if we get rejected here. That's the technical target, is 30 cents if this gets a successful backtest rejection. That's why right now, we're not out of the woods yet, but we definitely added some liquidity here, and we had a nice drop. And what I had on here before, but I did take off for just space yesterday after it happened. We talked about how there was a bear flag here if it did break down, and that satisfied the bear flag. For all intents and purposes here, that's satisfied. So you don't even have to worry about that. Because even if, where do we have it from? We had it from the 200 yesterday. But at this point right here even, the breakdown, you can see it satisfied that even. So if we do get another bounce down, that's where you would expect it. You would just expect it to come back into this area. Could it come a little bit lower? Actually, I would prefer it to come to like 38.7 cents and retest. See, what was a little bit of a waste, but not technically a full-on waste, was look how far we came down. And we didn't tap the uptrend. I would have loved to have seen it. And maybe that's setting up for a W reversal after a push back up. Or this is just a liquidity tug and it came close enough here, because are you really going to kill it for not coming to 38 or 39 and it came to 41, 42 on this chart? You know, so, but there's a lot of things that can happen here. But this is the all-time chart from when we have when we hit all-time highs in 2018 in January, and then we came back through. Now, it's completely normal after getting the rejection up here to now come back down to support. After this mid-tier, or not the mid-tier, but after this expansion zone failed, it's all but a certainty that that happens. Now, my question is does it continue on? We don't know that until these next couple things happen, like we talked about in the opening just now, with those couple targets above us. Those are so very important that we'll find out. Let's see if we close above 50 cents here today in the daily. We've got about 51 minutes. The US dollars come down just a tiny bit to start here, but we'll see if this is going to have a fear trade into the dollar here, because technically it could work itself up to 110. Now it broke bullish out of this formation. It just needs to get above after this technical push-up was filled at 106.23. If it were to hold that, this would break up even higher, at least to 108. And I call it the fear trade because a lot of people are buying into the dollar. At least that's what they want you to think. You know, on the fear of war breaking out with Iran and Israel. So, or as it's, you know, starting to happen, but you know, as you know in real time how they're doing it. But if you're a holder of XRP, I would not fear this at all. In fact, some of you I know were able to get into XRP for the first time. I know a lot of people sold out as well. But 100 million was bought by institutions, or by whales, I suppose you could say. 100 million XRP. But these times, like me, what I'm looking at right now is if it gives me an opportunity, if it wants to come back down and retest that double bottom or do worse damage, this next time, if it does have a drop, because it's either it's going to have a drop here and it's going to get rejected at these back tests, because make no mistake, we are absolutely at the back test right now. 100%. Even if we were bearish, this is the obvious back test. And it's either we're going to come back up past this rising channel, or the door's already open for our next drop. We already know this part of the drop. It would be around 397. And then it would be, is this a bullish W? Or does it go farther down? The technical target out of the entire pattern drop is down to 30.5 cents if we lose this rising channel here that we've uncovered, that we've been in since 2022. This is keeping it out of a wedge. This is just taking away the higher push-ups that were fake outs, because it stayed within the lower support. And even when it pushed above the rising support, it still came back within it in due time, very quickly. So I think this is pretty accurate what can happen. And obviously that 39.72 is important, because anywhere near that If it holds at 38, 38 and a half, 39, that's right at the uptrend. So, and that goes back to and that's a 78-month consolidation. So you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that area. That's not a good thing if you lose that area. That's the cup and handle. And if I didn't show it already, let me just make sure I show the entire cup and handle. I know I showed the handle support, but we're in a cup and handle right now. It goes back all the way back to 2022 in March. And it's very bullish until you lose the handle support. You can have wicks down. You can have bull downs. Right now, it's not going to look like anything other than a wick if this plays true. It just is what it is. Now, if we get a rejection here, this is what we're talking about. A rejection at, like we said, 505, so important. 505, you get a rejection at, and then you start coming down. It's going to open up the door to those drops. Because you would at least have to double bottom if we can't get past this very big resistance. Because this becomes an enormous resistance. Because in all reality, you should not have fallen out by more than 25% from that handle support. It happens. But unless this is liquidity, you know, it could be a precursor to something else. And this is just a 50% retracement now. Think about it. We fell about 45 to 48%. And now we're up about 25%. I mean, we're basically retraced about 50% of the drop. This is standard operating procedure. Now, if we want to validate the wick off, see, I would encourage it to double bottom, because if we completed the wick off accumulation, you technically want a strong double bottom. And yes, although we did get a double bottom in the small time frames, we didn't get any kind of real bounce back. We didn't get anything up here to resistance, and then prove that even though we failed to break back through the former support for multi-year support, even though we get rejected by it and it becomes resistance momentarily, with a sudden spot drop right back down, and right back to 41 or 39 or 38, wherever it decides, that if you can hold that double bottom and that uptrend still that it's been in for 78 months through this consolidation, it shows such strength, and the bounce back is going to be epic. It's going to be so oversold if it does that. And this is just like when we came up last time. Yes, I want the small term drop now again so that we can get this solidification. I want this solidified. And there is some whirlwinds about, a possible settlement, which I'll believe it when I see it. But the fact that that's becoming more noise, we'll see what that entails. So, personally right now, I can see what's about to happen. Two different ways. One, we have this artificial run back up on low volume, and then it just comes crashing down, and then we can't even hold ourselves at those other levels. Two, if the gods are with us, and I know everybody's going to get pissed, and they probably won't even recognize it, or they won't even acknowledge it, or they're going to say, God, this guy's such a dick. But if we could somehow, some way, let the levees break one more time and have a 2017-like drop where this can come down, and hit 28 or not 28, 38, or even that 30-cent target, so I guess it's close. But it has one of those big wicks down, and it fulfills these technical points, and this suggests 30 and a half could get it done. Because, listen, because I put it in a rising channel for a reason and not a wedge. We know in a rising channel, if it fails, it always comes back to where it started. And the fact that the technical target right now brings it back to where it started, I put a lot of validity here. But what I see here is if this happens and we go, whew, I see bam and right back up. I see very quickly. And I think that is what we're actually trying to hunt out. I really do. Because we did not fill the entirety of that gap. I don't care what anybody says about this drop. The fair value gap was filled to a sense. It never filled the initial gap all the way down to there. It didn't. Because it's never been able to come back down through that uptrend. Ever since it made the rally, it all of a sudden started doing something like that. And then every time it would come, it would be something different in the all-time pattern. So a healthy correction would be to fix this and do exactly what I showed. That would be healthy. And if that happens, I'm loading the fucking farm. I'm already in with what I intended, but if it drops down there, there's a real chance that I'm going to drop another $3,000 to $6,000 down there. And that's why I want it. Because I can't buy it above there knowing that I bought it at 34, but it's not because of that. I need to see the technical pattern fill out if I'm going to buy that much. So, and then not all of it would be to hold on forever. Some of it would just be to bounce, to bring the bounce back at 30 to 40%. Because from here, let's face it, if you had something like this and the bounce back came up here and then you started contending with that again, that's already 84% back up. So, you know, there's opportunity here. And oh man, where it's set up right now, I can almost see how they would do this, get everybody's hopes up. And in my head, I'm like, let's fill this technical target. It's not oftentimes we break down that much and not fulfill in the end the technical target. Bitcoin's well below a very psychological point at 66.6K, but it is within the range of being okay here if you look at it in the sense of this formation. Let me get rid of this so it's easier to see. Because now we're back within here. We know if we get a successful rejection at all here, which it looks like it could avoid it here for a moment, it would be a drop down. The first hold point would be around 57,000, but ultimately it's a technical target of 49,500 and some change from the formation it's in. So, and now the logical back test on an overrun is where I put these lines. I put one here, and then I tried to encapsulate even with that uptrend because that was trying to form a little bit of an extension zone there. So now that's where it tactically needs to come back to prove that this pattern's flipped from being bearish to bullish. But if we do break bullish here and we do manage to rally, now you're looking at 86,269 if you get out of this. So that's what we're looking at because this is the entirety of this pattern. There's no more shortcomings. There's no more, let's look at this section. We're looking at it for the entirety of this run up here, right here, on this current consolidation. There's no in between now. It's either going to do one thing or the other. The only way it could stop short of that bottom target is if it used that broadening wedge breakout resistance as the new support. And that's around 57K. So that's what we're seeing across the board with Bitcoin, with XRP. Right now, like I said, it's been a phenomenal bounce back. Better than 25% for XRP. It's about a 50% retracement back from the drop point right now. Because we were right around 61 to 63 cents when all the events happened. So yeah, it's a remarkable bounce back. But like I've been encouraging the last several days, please look in the video description below and our pinned comments. Look at BITUNIX as the next purchase I buy is going to get everything that I own on Uphold out. Because I'm going to be doing it through Uphold and it'll be sent off via XRP, my funds that I made on the last rally up. There's over 6,000 that still needs to be taken off of Uphold. But I'm going to send it over to BITUNIX so that if I want to swing trade or whatever, I've already got 3,600 now. I made a few dollars on a swing trade, bought in a little bit, but not what I intended. But that's a little bit different. That was just buying extra XRPH, not sending it over to stake right now because we don't know how it's going to be on the wallet or how long it's going to be for them to have it to where you can sell it on the wallet. I can still take it out of XRPH wallet and I can send it off, but some people are having problems with it. So right now I have 55,000 staked and I figured I would buy some and then I would just have it as a swing trade bag right now unless I decide to send it over after. But I didn't expect it to, I mean, I expected a bounce, but it's up 21% from where I bought that swing trade bag. So now it's brought my account, you know, value from MEXC, and then I can send some more over. And yeah, it's just a domino effect here. So, but we'll get into XRP healthcare as well. But the one thing I'll say is don't underestimate, like we said, it had a descending consolidation and it hit the old ascending formation that it broke out of and back tested not just the descending triangle hitting the support, but it back tested the former breakout. And we already back tested the breakout here that can give us enough support to go up. And then even if it's bearish, it should double top here at about 9.3 cents. And then that's not means it's going to come all the way back down, but it could consolidate more. This seems to be set up unless we get rejected at 6212, because that's a huge pivot point. And I only say that because that was the old breakout resistance from the entirety of this pattern before it broke out, and that was our technical target, which we filled. Then our second technical target we already filled, and now it has that same target. to reach back, ironically, out of that descending formation, which is kind of ironic. And then if it breaks out of this, we all know the upper target, which it would be a beautiful thing to come up. Well, it's not the upper, but the next resistance would be 11.1 cents. So we've got a potential here. It's just if you look at it like this, you can see all we've done is come back in for a possible rejection as well. And that could bring you up to about almost 6.9 cents if you look at it in this regard. But that's just looking at it in a slightly different direction. So take it for what it's worth. But if you break it down into micro patterns, you know, it shows the whole story. But we'll see. We'll see, because it's been a nice little run here already. But like I said, it's up 21% today, 20%, depending on which exchange you're looking at. So that's a fantastic thing to see. I am curious to see how metals are going to react. I really would like to see them fly. But I could definitely see a fear trade. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know what's going to happen because we've been so hot. I would love to see this just continue, though. But that's a bearish candle, most likely, right there. Right now it is. Right now it's a gravestone, it looks like. Now if it pulls down a little bit in the next 36 minutes, we'll see what happens. I don't have time to talk about precious metals, though, because we got a lot going on in crypto. So please make sure to hit that like button so that YouTube recommends this live. It'll allow not just new viewers, but older viewers as well to find their way to the community. And like I was saying with BITUNIX real quick, that's in the video description below and our pinned comments. You don't need to use a VPN. It's got the lowest spot and leverage trading fees in the USA. And it's not down in high times of volatility. It was not down again during this entire drop. I could trade. I could do whatever I wanted. So just pay attention to that. And you don't even need to do a KYC unless you decide to deposit from a bank account. But if you do it from exchange to exchange, withdrawal or deposit, you don't have to do that either. So just look into that. And you can store things. If somebody was there when you could only do it in USDT to store your savings, and you could only use that stable coin, now you can use USDC as of the last update. And I currently have over 3,600 in USDC as I'm building this portfolio up time after time over time. So, and that's only for swing trading. I won't do anything out or spot trading. I won't put it in. I'm not tempted by the leverage trading. I'm not doing it. So I'm trying to build it in good principles. So please make sure to hit that like button. By you doing that, YouTube will recommend this live. It'll allow not just new but older viewers as well when they're scrolling through their YouTube feed to find this content. I think it's entirely important today for everybody to see this. And it's extremely important for the holders because we're right here. Actually, 508 as well, watch, because we'll go over that. But 508... 60, no, 505 is fine, because then we can come up to the 608 and see how that reacts. Then we've got 644, 62.2 from last. So there's a lot of stuff micromanaging this position, but it's going to be very important as we get to 8 o'clock. So let me do the intro. I thank everybody for being here. A special shout out to the members of Tom's Army that single-handedly help fund this show. As I do encourage the audience, if you get anything out of what I do and you appreciate the time I put in, as I work 7 days a week, I don't take a day off. I've been doing this since March 30th of 2021, and I'm proud to say I've never missed a day at work. So consider joining Tom's Army in a month one to get the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens, or send one YouTube super chat per month is all I ask. So let's get into the comments and let's get into the intro. So good evening, 7:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, April 14th. 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I thank everybody for tuning in. Please make sure to hit that like button, as it can go an extremely long way for me to promote this program. It helps out more than I think everybody even imagines, but it really does help out a lot. We'll bring this right into the close, and then I got to help Julie just after 8 because the kids have school in the morning. They got to take their showers and yada, yada, yada. So we'll be bringing this right into 8 o'clock, and right around 8 o'clock I'm going to end this. So it'll probably end right when the open happens, or right when the daily close happens and the new week starts. So XRP's weekly candle is about to close. That's something we definitely need to pay attention to here. If we look at this in the weekly time frame, we could technically pull this wick back, and that's why I say how important this is. If we can close above 50, we'll just call it 506. You can close the weekly, and this would just be a wick. Remember, the body tells the story the wick is where to me, the wick is where the lies are, because that's where you're going to shake everybody out. But the body of the candle tells the truth, tells the story. The FUD is told in the wicks. So if this wick closes, it's very close now in the weekly. We very well could start this next candle on support here in the wick. Like, we are right there now to where that looks like in the weekly time frame. That could have just been a liquidity drop here, and it could start off hot to start the next week even. But that's the importance of the area we're in. That's the importance for the area. So we're in a very, very, very trying, but a very, very interesting moment in history right now. We could literally be moments away from one of two things: a big rise or a big drop to retest our further drop, to fill out technical zones. But right now we're back testing this area to see if we can invalidate a further drop. So we're well on our way. We're not out of the woods yet, but it's been a remarkable bounce back here. So let me try to get to as many comments as I can. I did see a donation, didn't I? Let me put this in here real quick. John Patak, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, and also sending your 10th YouTube super chat. That's got to put you in the top 0.1% of my audience. Seeing that less than, I think, 1.5% have ever donated, which it doesn't seem like a lot, but I do have a lot of an audience. There's a lot of people in the audience, so take that with a grain of salt. Thank you for your 10th donation and sending $9.99. That is so important. I really appreciate that. Joshua, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Big Mac, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. JW, welcome in, along with Tanya. And I'm glad, Tanya, you got your emoji badge. Your notification, love. Glad to hear that. And thank you and JW. And JW, I hope you're doing blessed this evening as well. I thank you both for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Jeffrey, welcome in. Big Mac says, literal shitcoin. Well, maybe it's not the one for you, friend. If you think it's a shitcoin, you might not be in the right place, whether you're in Tom's Army or not. Unless you just enjoy me, which is always appreciated. Peyton Shoemaker, welcome in. I know it all of a sudden started giving that statement. Started 2 days ago. It will not let me transfer XRP to the healthcare wallet. Do not know how to fix it. I don't have that issue, honestly. I don't know. Maybe somebody else can help with that. Let's see. Chomp Attack, welcome in, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Uffy for Life, welcome in. XRP on the shorter time frames has an upward trending support. It sure does. It sure does. We do. We're just trying to get past these barriers right now. It's looking better than it could have. It's looking better than it could have right now, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see what happens here. But I am in favor for that another drop here. Just FYI, even though I am a holder, I'm in favor of it because it can clear out a big gap around 30 cents that has not been touched. We did hit one around 40-cent area, which was important, but there's a lingering one around 30 cents that I have not been able to take my eye off for a very long time. I would love to form. Oh yeah. Yeah, if it comes down to 38, it would be beautiful. That if we form, like you were saying, that inverse head and shoulders, if it comes down to 38 cents and retest that 78-month uptrend, perfect. It's perfect. If it does that, that would be enough to solidify a back test, a huge one. But there's work to be done here. There's work to be done here. We can break off very bullish here very quickly, even more so than if we just start pumping out of a short-term pattern or a short-term uptrend. We really want to do this full out. Uphold also has a max daily of 2,500. You can do a wire transfer with no fees under 10,000 with a 3 business day delay. So many missed buying opportunities. I feel like an idiot. Oh, I get that, Christopher. Trust me, I do. I do, trust me. When it comes, trust me. So I've been using BITUNIX a lot more. I also feel like an idiot. Chris, and also thanks for being in Tom's Army for 2 months with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. John, I already said thank you to you, my friend, for that. And Brett Urich, thank you so much for the $9.99 donation. That's incredible. Added 2,500 at 43 cents. Let's keep it going. Excellent. That's a great price. Great price. That's beautiful. And like you said, keep it going. I don't know if you mean keep it going and the price going up or keep it going so that you can get another buy-in. But in any event, we could be creating, like we said at the start, this inverse head and shoulders. And right now it's very vital because we're trying to break back within this rising channel area again. If we get back within here, even in the weekly sense on the weekly candle, that's why I'm very impressed by it. If it can come back, we could come back up and it's just a candle body or a candle wick that breaks down. The candle wick is where lies are told. The candle body is where truth is told. If you want to make the right decision, you follow the body, not the wick. So the wick is the temptation of fear. The body is where all the info lies. So oftentimes the wick, you'll see it within time frames. The weekly wick being that big and pulling up is incredible. That leads for a lot of liquidity to be had here. So now we just need to know, is this it? Because this daily right now, we can call it for what it is, but we never really had any topside pressure this entire candle. We pulled back up, but we weren't able to break back up at all. So we're well below the 200-day. So it does leave a lot to be desired, especially, you know, if we struggle in this area. But at the same time, we could turn this all around. And I'm looking at it positively because I know what it means if we do take the more bearish route here to the downside here. It's actually bullish, not bearish. The push up right now could turn out to be the bearish push up. So it will go back up to 60 cents. If you say so. I'm only talking about what it shows on the charts. It could go up to 60 cents. It's got a few barriers first. It's got this 505 or 508, depending on how you look at it. It's got up at, now it's created a 538 wall, a 55-cent wall. You've got one at about 58 cents, 60, 62.2. So yeah, it could go back up there, absolutely. But like I said, it can't get there until we retake this area. So it could just as easily get rejected here and break down to the technical target of 30.55 cents after breaking a multi-year uptrend. I would buy more, but I was already all right. Oh, I get that. Get that. That's about as real as it gets right there. It's about as real as it gets right there. That's why when those opportunities happen, and even if it's a swing trade at that point, when it has big drops like that. So there's a lot of comments. I got to the ones that I really could. If I missed you, I apologize because I was scrolling so fast. But we are at an interesting time. Wow, we are doing terrible on the likes. You know, some days you don't get, well, not typically. Usually we do pretty good on the likes. Maybe the information's not good. But if you respect the time of me being here on this Sunday, despite being very busy, please hit that like button. That is really all I ask. Like that is something that, just the time, please hit that like button. Simon, welcome in. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for 1 month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. I appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, that's basically all I can give you for XRP right now. We got to see how that goes in the next 25 minutes. Bitcoin, we've already talked about. The XRP Bitcoin pairing. XRP's up 2.94% against Bitcoin. And right now, the obviously glaring thing is we haven't filled out the entirety of this technical target. We came pretty close, actually. Never mind. Never mind. You know what? That came damn close. I take that back. That absolutely filled that out. Holy shit. And they say technical analysis doesn't work. Because that's the fear. If it would have broke down, that was the technical drop point. It did drop right down there. Damn. But now we're at these hold points. Does this hold? Or can we get back into the formation at 809? A lot of work to still be done here. Higher time frames look a little better. Lower time frames. Again, what leaves a lot to be desired for me is there's not a lot of volume coming in. It is a thinly traded weekend. But at the same time, you can see on a thinly traded weekend, when there was the drop, how the volume poured in. How when there was a drop, even with, as you can see, I know it's a thinly traded weekend, but if you use that excuse that there's not volume because it's a thinly traded weekend, how do we put up 37.7 million in that hourly? Now we're pushing up, and in these hourlies, the last one, we put in 1.9. That's a little alarming. You know, it is. So, that's okay, JW. We all forget. You know, sometimes we forget. But I know you probably hit it now based on your reaction, so I appreciate it. But yeah, that's what we're looking at here. We're in a very, very, very interesting spot. Because we're at the resistance now. We're at that resistance that even if you were bearish, you'd hit this resistance and break down again. With the XRP market cap, what the heck happened here? I don't even know what that... Oh, that's supposed to be the target down, but that's confusing because it looked like a formation. Let's see. I don't even need this because it came all the way to the formation. That's 22.65. I'm going to raise it just a little bit. But that's where we were talking if it came all the way down. It almost... No, actually, I should keep it because what if it has to come back down for a double bottom? So 22.5, it was there for a reason, probably. But we'll see because, like I said at the beginning, this could very well... This could... Man, my hair is getting long, though. This could very well create an inverse head and shoulders here within the shorter time frames. And you can see it because you could go boom, boom, and then it would have to come up here and then do something like this again. And then maybe, just maybe, if we can get past this area, the next real big area is up there. That's the next big area to get back to. That's not saying it's just going to get there. Because we have a big problem here, as we know, with that mid-tier handle. Well, that's not the mid-tier, but that's the handle support. Right now, it's trying to act as resistance. So we'll see how it reacts. This is the multi-year uptrend through a rising channel that it's trying to backtest right now. And if it got rejected here, that has major implications because the technical drop point, if we don't restore this very quickly, is right at about 30.5 cents. So and this pattern's been going on for many years. Well, not many, but over 2 years. And if you understand what a rising channel, and this is why I didn't put it in to where you could do anything like some people are putting into a Y. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to make sure that it was encapsulating the actual identity of the pattern, which was a rising channel. Support, resistance, support. Even when it came up, it still used it as a resistance, support. Even when it came up, used it as a resistance, support. Even when it came up, used it as a resistance, back to support. But now it broke it, which means if it gets rejected here, the technical target's down here. So I'm going to keep it up there until that doesn't play out. Because you don't just break it for no reason unless it's a fake out. So at least if it breaks down, we know our targets. That 39.72 is the bear flag target. It almost filled it out on the first drop. So unless we're going for a V-shaped recovery here, it could be leading into one more pullback here. So, but I'm cautiously optimistic because the cautious part, I've got a lot of money to the side. And if it does drop down there under 40 cents, I'm buying a lot more. Buying a lot more. So that's just the way it's going to be. And I already have my bag filled of XRP, what I wanted initially. So if I buy more, it's just on top of what I've already bought. And then it gives you more flexibility of sales down the road. So it's going to be an interesting time here this week. I can tell you that. It's going to be a very interesting time this week. So let's get into some news here. Where was it at? I don't want any of the nonsense, though, honestly. Oh, here's one thing I wanted to read. So Ripple sends 100 million XRP to unknown wallet as XRP price recovers. So, and I wonder if anybody heard about this. I think I talked about this in my update this morning briefly. In an unexpected move, Ripple, a prominent crypto enterprise, has transferred a staggering 100 million XRP equivalent to 48.61 million United States dollars to an unknown address, as per findings by Whale Alert. The transfer executed just over 3 hours ago, and that was from this morning, from Ripple's address, yada, 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 the ownership of which remains anonymous despite its activation in October 2023. Little is known about the entity behind RP4X2H, with even the BitHump Explorer failing to yield substantial information. The implications of this massive transfer are profound, especially considering that the recipient wallet now boasts a balance exceeding 225 million XRP, valued at 110 million. This substantial accumulation suggests involvement from a significant investor or organization, given its connection to Ripple and the considerable initial transfer of 70 million XRP. So 100 million XRP worth 48,611,105 US dollars was transferred from Ripple to unknown wallet. So as XRP price eyes recovery, interestingly, this move occurred against the backdrop of a remarkable recovery in XRP's price. Despite recent geopolitical tensions causing a temporary slump, XRP has bounced back, with quotes showing a notable uptick of 3% since the opening of the last daily candle. Now it's up significantly more than that. To the USD, right, current market, so it was surged. So XRP surged back after the drop yesterday of 17.8% at time of writing of this. Now it's up to about 25%. Since hitting its lows at 41.88 cents, as we know, it's about 506 right now, 50.6 cents. A level unseen in the last 8 months on the drop. The timing of Ripple's significant transfer amid this resurgence as XRP's price raises questions about its potential impact on the cryptocurrency's future. With XRP exhibiting such resilience and Ripple making massive transfers, the community is left speculating on the implications of this transfer. Will it help XRP's upward momentum, or could it introduce negative dynamics into the market? Only time will tell how this enigmatic maneuver shapes the future of one of the crypto's world's most popular assets. I like how they called it an asset as well. I do want to read one thing I seen with Bitcoin. Where was that at? Right here. Nope, that's back too far. But I did see something on Bitcoin that we could read as well. It wasn't about Bitcoin in its own, but it was about the bull run. So let's talk about this. So is it over for this Bitcoin bull run? This ominous indicator suggests so. And we know the technical target right now, if Bitcoin fails this retest, is right around 49,500, which makes perfect sense with where XRP is lining up for a technical drop if these back tests or retests of the drop points fail to produce bullish momentum. So according to prominent trader, yada, 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 Josh Olszewicz, Bitcoin might be on the cusp of another bearish reversal. The indicator is comprised of 5 different lines, 2 of which comprise the cloud, which can be either red or green. The blue line, which can be seen in Olszewicz's chart, is called the conversion line or the Tenkan line. It represents the average for the last 9 periods. It can be comparable to regular moving averages, but it is a higher level of precision. The red line is called the baseline, or the Kijun line, Kijun. It shows the midpoint price of the previous 26 periods. If the price of Bitcoin drops below the Kijun line, it means that it has a bearish bias. As noted by Olszewicz, Bitcoin experienced its first Kijun tap since the breakout in early June. Even though the price of the top cryptocurrency could still recover from here, the trader argues that preceding triple top structure actually hints at a bearish reversal. As reported by You Today, Bitcoin recently experienced extreme volatility due to geopolitical tensions after collapsing to $61,514. Bitcoin has managed to pare some losses, currently trading, and now it's over 65,000, as at least it was. Notably, roughly $1 billion worth of crypto has been liquidated over the past 24 hours. It is, think about that. $1 billion has been liquidated in crypto, which means $1 billion in leverage across the entire crypto market is gone. So $1 billion in trading money that could have been in spot, could still be there at some level, has been liquidated from traders just like you and I. In the past 24 hours, roughly $1 billion lost from retail. FE4 Life, thank you so much for the $5 donation. And also for being in Tom's Army for 1 month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. He says, probably a bribe for Gensler, that unknown transfer along with the 500 million XRP. Unscheduled release makes me feel like some SEC news is coming. Same. There's actually been, and I'll bring it up here since you, let me, so it is also noteworthy thickness cloud direction correlates with the strength of momentum. In mid-December, for instance, the red cloud was getting thinner, which preceded the start of another downtrend. Bitcoin is up 73.74% on a year-to-date basis. So speaking of possibilities with XRP, so XRP SEC settlement, there's a rumor, and the only thing I can do is share some of the rumor. This is an expert that came out, so the Crypto Basic. So for anybody who's interested in maybe some of the rumor that's going around about this, and for anybody who's wondering why my hair is so long, because I always see the questions, I told the audience I would not cut my hair until XRP hit $1 again, just to prove a point of, because a lot of people told me when I made a prediction in 21 when it was at $1.66 and said you have to sell, because it came up to $1.98. It wasn't just because I said to sell and everything had to be liquidated. I seen something transpiring and everybody said I was crazy because it would never go under $1 again. Well, it's been down to $1 for so long. I just did this since July of last year. So going on 10 months, I decided to prove a point, not cut my hair until we hit $1, maybe even all-time highs, but at least $1. But so for everybody asking, that's how it got so long. But I actually like it. I might just keep growing it to all-time highs. I may never be able to cut it. So expert says it looks like Ripple and SEC have reached a settlement. So this is what an expert says. So FE4 Life, this goes out to you because you brought that up and you actually sent a donation as well, which I really appreciate that on top of being in Tom's Army. So regular XRP community member and expert Ashley Prosper highlights several facts, and I don't put any stock into these people. It's just this is what they are talking about. This is the rumor. Suggesting that multi-year legal tussle between the SEC and Ripple has ended in a settlement, but this remains speculative. Ashley Prosper made this known in a recent X post. I can't say that Ripple and the SEC have reached a settlement, but I can say it looks that way. The prominent XRP community member further highlighted several factors he believes support his assertion. First, he mentioned the recent Second Circuit ruling in the SEC versus Gavil lawsuit, which is important, where the court denied the commission's request to reverse its decision on disgorgement. Notably, the court held that the SEC is not entitled to disgorgement from the seller if the buyer suffers no financial losses, which is important for the XRP or the Ripple versus SEC. So, second, Prosper characterized the SEC's remedies-related brief as terrible for failing to identify a single institutional investor who incurred economic losses from purchasing XRP from Ripple. According to him, another factor suggesting that SEC and Ripple might have reached a settlement was the occurrence of a settlement conference which took place without the defendant submitting its remedies-related reply brief. Yes, I disagree with, see, that part of it right there leads me to believe that this is more conjecture than reality, because that meeting was already scheduled and that was put in by the judge. They had to go together for 1 hour to try to agree to a settlement. That in no way was a settlement conference that came out of nowhere, or it was to reach a settlement. That was pre-planned 7 months ago. So every time somebody tells me that, that leads me to believe that they're probably a little uneducated to the topic, because nobody should use that as a reason why. That was put in there. There was no reason to put in the remedies-related brief. That is irrelevant. They were put in there for strictly 1 hour. The focus was to try to come to some kind of agreement. That's it. The remedies-related brief has nothing to do with that. I don't understand why. Anyhow, recall that the parties had a settlement conference on March 29th, and I just said what this was. The conference was in the line with the court's directive, which ordered the parties to converse at least 1 hour before the final pretrial. See, at least the Crypto Basic put this in here on top of what they were saying. So that's good. You know, not just leaving it up for just the interpretation of the person that they were talking about. So the 1 hour before the final pretrial conference, by April 16th, to explore the possibility of settling the case. According to Prosper, the settlement conference took longer than anticipated. It can take as long as it wants. So what, it goes 3 hours? What the hell does that matter? It just had to be at least 1 hour. They didn't say it had to end at 1 hour exactly. They had to at least talk for 1 hour. When you try to come to an agreement, if it's a 1 hour minimum, you're not just going to stop at an hour. Just be, hey, it's an hour's up. In addition, Prosper pointed out that the SEC has shifted attention away from Ripple and is now focused on charging other crypto-related entities. Not true. Yes, they are focused on them, but they haven't turned their attention at all. They've been trying to smear campaign XRP for a very long time in Ripple. For instance, the SEC launched an investigation that could potentially classify Ethereum as a security. It also sent a Wells notice to popular Ethereum-based decentralized exchange DEX, Uniswap. Furthermore, the XRP enthusiast mentioned Ripple's plan to launch a stablecoin pegged to the US dollar and the shocking release of 500 million XRP from the company's escrow account. That, to me, is the most alarming part. That fact right there. Did it say 50 minutes? Holy man, these go by fast sometimes. Following the unscheduled release of 500 million, Ripple enthusiasts speculated that the crypto payment company plans to use the funds to fulfill a settlement obligation. Lastly, the expert highlighted the upcoming SEC Sunshine Act meeting as another factor indicating that the parties have settled. It bears mentioning that the SEC recently conducted a closed-door meeting on April 11th. So now this has a few corrections. However, it remains unclear whether the parties have reached a settlement as Prosper and other XRP enthusiasts speculated. The lawsuit is still in the remedy stage, with Ripple expected to file its opposition to the SEC's brief by April 22nd. So the fact that they are still planning to do that, or the fact that that's what comes next, how would you have a settlement if that's what comes next? You're not going to have a settlement and then they still have to put in the remedies-related brief. That would be irrelevant at that point. So until that doesn't happen on the 27th, or 22nd, I pretty much call bullshit on all this being a settlement here. It doesn't do any good for the ledger itself. Okay, so XRP is not a security. What about Corium? What about Solo? What about anything on the ledger? What about anything not on the ledger? It doesn't really classify anything. So what? XRP gets out in front, and for us it'll be great. Maybe not for everything else we hold, but anything on the ledger, I guess at that point would be off limits if you want to look at it that way. That's why crypto basic is fun. Well, I would say that at least Crypto Basic gave the reason why. They were just talking about another influencer, and then they gave a reason why that it might have been BS what they were saying. But yeah, it's all fun. All of it is. Any information you read is fun. You're coming to a logical conclusion based on all the P's and Q's you see, which is all bullshit, because they don't tell you the truth. Doesn't have anybody find it ironic? It's way better than CoinDesk. 100 times better. Don't you guys find it ironic that right when all this stuff, all the real information started coming out, Ripple agrees to put it under seal and not tell the public? Like, that in itself I called bullshit on, and it pissed me off. So, in subsequent disclosure, Prosper corrected some of his remarks, confirming there is no settlement conference scheduled for April 16th. See, like I said, I called him up before I even read it all the way down. As earlier noted, in addition, he stressed that the reason behind the uncharacteristic 500 million escrow unlock has been spotlighted. I told you, they're all full of shit. The Crypto Basic confirmed this morning that the escrow unlock came up to complete the 1 billion token quota scheduled for each month. Notably, the transaction with Ripple scheduled for April 1st merely suffered a delay. Despite these corrections, Prosper continued. Oh my God, these people are so inaccurate. I'm done reading. Done reading. Anybody who understands the unlock understands there was still an unlock on the first. Like, come on. That was in addition still to the unlock, but as further information came out, it was likely be put on the ledger because of the new amendment that was put in, and then what they want to add, as they're trying to add to the ledger now, via another protocol being initiated. So that is very well where the other 500 million can add. But to say that it was a late release, like, that just ruined the entire article. Doesn't matter. I understand that they unlocked 500, they relocked 800 million, but they still initially unlocked 1 billion. I did the release on the first. Just because you want, that would be like me taking $1 million out of the bank and putting 800,000 back in. I still took it out. And then at a later time, I take another 500 million out. It's still taken out. In accordance to the rules, I still took it out. Now I've taken out 500 million over even what I locked up. I put 800 million back. So now you've taken out one 500 million. Then they did a second 500 million. So now you've got an additional 200 million unaccounted for by that logic even. Which is good logic, FE4 Life, because it's true. Because they did lock 80% back up, but other months they won't retake it out. So there's a myriad of things going on. Technical target on Bitcoin, if it doesn't break bullish out of this drop, is 49,500 area. 57,000 is the first area that it could possibly hold. I don't disagree with what you're saying. Right now we're below the 505, which to me, that's not necessarily a great sign. Because now you're going to have a weekly candle close below. We'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. But FE4 Life, you're right. They did lock up 800 million. So that's definitely something to watch for. To see if that had something to do with it. But what I was saying with the crypto basic is that's fake reporting though. They didn't do their homework. They said that it got delayed. It didn't get delayed because they had already released 1 billion on Monday. Or on the 1st. And then they locked 800 million up. And then they released 500 and 500 more. So to me now they've unlocked 1.2 billion this month right under our noses in totality. But right now we're up against this major resistance. What is this exact number? It's like 506, so it's right there. It's right there. So it makes you wonder. So with all these getting unlocked, are we going to come all the way back up here? Or are we going to come back and make another bottom? Only time will tell. Only time will tell as we wind down this live, because I got to do stuff here in a couple minutes. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you, FE4 Life, for the $5 donation. As you said, SEC will ask for an extension. They have been for everything so far, so April won't see a settlement. This does have to be over with by mid-May. No, you're fine. At some point, it has to be. It does have to be over at some point. I mean, I don't necessarily know about mid-May. I could see them dragging this out a lot longer, especially if they went by jury. If they go jury trial, this could last throughout almost the entire year. But right now, XRP failed the weekly candle here all of a sudden. Just in the sense that we're below a multi-year formation, and we had a chance here, a very real chance to get back up here in the weekly. Well, let's not call it over yet. Let's see what it looks like in the weekly in about a minute. But we had a very real chance of just wicking this. So this could be within the margin of error though, to where it could try to invalidate that drop down. We'll see. We'll see. If it gaps down, yeah, like I said, what I want this to do, because I'm reading this as a rising channel. I understand the wedge, yada, yada, yada. But let me do this one more time. We came through resistance, support, resistance, support. Even when we came way up here, it still used resistance. Came down. Even when it came up, resistance, support. Even when it came up, resistance, support. So now if it comes back up in resistance, the technical target, if you lose this trend line, is this. So what I'm looking for, we know rising channels, if they break down bearish, they always come back to where it started. Well, the technical target, ironically, is right where it started at 30.5 cents. So what I want to happen is this. Rising channel fails. Boom, V-shaped recovery. That's what I want. That's what I want. And often you would see it do something like this, and then it would, I want something like that. If it does something like that, buy the farm. Buy the farm. Buy the farm. FE4 Life, they are 100% filled with FUD. That's why I preface it by saying, let's see what everybody else is talking about. That's why everybody was talking about a settlement, because of those articles. That's what I was trying to show. I show it every single time, and then I correct it as I go along. It's BS. And that's where most of the people get their information. So you're 100% on the money there, FE4 Life. Riddled with BS. But I still like to read the public perception. If we can get past this rising channel resistance now, we have a chance. But if we get rejected here, how often do we come down like this and not double? I mean, even this handle resistance. This was another area. On the weekly, we had a chance to come back through it. And right now, it came from here. But you can see this whole candle body could still pull way down. It's set up for a very interesting moment here. So, but that's it, everybody. I got to get going here. It's Sunday night. The kids have school in the morning. I know Julie can always use my help, so I appreciate everybody. The weekly did close. The weekly closed just now. SEC files a reply to Ripple's brief. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. FE for life, absolutely. But yeah, the weekly closed. May 6th. May 6th is the big day. May 6th, FE for life. They have 2 weeks. They'll have after May 6th. Good. Good information there. Crypto Scrooge, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. I really appreciate you being here. So they got 2 weeks after May 6th for the judge's decision. So May 20th. So we've got between now and May 20th. So I guarantee we're going to see fireworks here. Guarantee it. So they have up to May 20th is what he said. Okay. So May 6th, and then you got any time between then and 14-day deadline, basically. Beautiful. Great information there on the way out as well. That's why I love this audience. So have a blessed evening, everybody. Pay attention to what we've shown here in this live. Other than that, make sure to hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel and join the over 22,400 subscribers if you appreciate my work and want to see more. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Have a blessed evening, and thank you all so much for the continued support.